Going to Rivers, I don't want to comment on Rivers because, Fubara, you can't be playing with the devil. In my place, there's this impression, there's this saying that he who is who dines with the devil needs a long spoon. But in Fubara's case, what he did or what he's doing is that he threw away the spoon he had, washed his hand, and he's eating with the devil with his bare hands. He always believes that he has a way that he can sort it out with Wike within Wike's own backyard. He moved to Wike's level and believes he can play him out. The day Fubara decides to stand as a man, when the governors are moving to other political parties, he should have simply moved to political party like NDC and see what will happen. If Fubara moves to NDC today, the game will change. Because even the masses are not that sympathetic to him, because it seems as if what is happening to him is self-inflicted. You have two options.
This is Naija Unfiltered on SYMFONI TV. My name is Olawale Oluwade, and my guest today is Sir Obunike Ohaegbu, a lawyer and a former federal commissioner representing the FCT in the Public Complaints Commission. Barrister Ohaegbu, nice to have you on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Let's get right into our conversation. African Arguments, a journal, published a report this month, May 2026, saying Nigeria's 2027 general elections may already have been decided. They cited mass defections of politicians from one party to the other, judicial capture, and issues, with the 2026 Electoral Act as amended are some of the reasons why the elections, forthcoming elections, may already have been decided. What's your take on this? How do you respond?
I don't think that opinion is peculiar to them. And if you look at what has been happening, for instance, look at what is going on in the ADC and so many other political parties, even Labour. Look at what is happening in PDP, where one person has appropriated powers and given and taken instructions. The other time, the police chased away the supposed leaders of the PDP from the PDP secretariat. The next time, somebody else gave instructions and took over. So when you look at all I don't want to comment on what is happening in the judiciary. So when you look at all these, you'll be worried, considering what INEC was perceived or did or have been perceived by Nigerians to have done it in the 2023 election. You have reasons to be concerned. So I think Nigerians are concerned, but we see a long way to go, and I'm sure as we move on, at the end of the day, the decision has to be taken by the people. You make a lot of mistakes when you assume powers you don't have because you are not God. If somebody is playing God, you are not one. So when you assume powers you don't have, at the end of the day, God will have a way of ensuring that the voice of the people will prevail over whatever plans or shenanigans that are playing out.
Some of the reasons why, like you said, and I think I agree with you, that it's not just this journal. There is some of the reasons why so many people also believe that the forthcoming elections are already decided one way or the other, or is a foregone conclusion. It's also because the major, gladiators, opposition gladiators, have refused to stay together, come together and present a single front to challenge the ruling party. How do you respond? How do you interrogate that?
From what I said earlier, you will understand. For instance, I'm running for an election and I'm not in APC. So if I believe that the APC has taken a decision and that there will be no point participating, I will not be on the race. So nobody can play God. Yes, I agree with you that there is a need to have, all over the world, there is a need for the opposition to be united for you to defeat an incumbent. But you could also see that there are signs that unity is coming up. It's too early to say that the opposition is not united. I think the opposition, they are getting united. For instance, there's a master stroke. I lead Southeast Patriots, and we've consistently insisted there is a need for the Southeast to partner with the North going towards the 2027 election. That's the only way we could get the result we are expecting. And that had just happened with the coming together of Mr. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. So the move, if you notice the difference, because I've always argued this with people, if you notice the difference between what happened in 2023, when Mr. Peter Obi left PDP, he picked one dirty as his vice. That is not what is happening now. Kwankwaso is not a dirty. So you could see that there is deliberate effort to actually ensure that there is that unity between the North and the Southeast. And I think going forward, it will take time, because the election is coming up in 2027 anyways, where we are still in May. So I'm sure with time, people will realize what is going on, and there will be a lot of realignments. And I'm sure once we are done with the primaries, you see what will happen. So Nigerians will still take a decision. The masses are waiting, the voters are waiting.
Okay. Hunger, is widespread across the country, The Naira has collapsed against the dollar. I mean, today, fuel prices has shot through the roof, but the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, says they are doing reforms, and the reforms are yielding results. Electricity costs through the roof, cost of transportation through the roof, airfares through the roof. I could go on and on. Now, poverty is also increasing, Yet the APC ruling party, still has support. Governors are defecting to them, senators and all of that. Give us your own opinion on the state of the Nigerian nation.
Okay, I don't know what you call reforms that APC. I mean, it's not in the place of the president to tell us that things are getting better. Nigerians are in the position to know whether they are better off now than they were before his inauguration in 2023. And I think the president is very wrong to assume that things are getting better. What is actually getting better? These issues are very straightforward. What have we done? What are you doing that will make things better? For instance, those of us in the Southeast Patriots, there are issues we have been propagating. You are doing whatever mega highway from Lagos to Port Harcourt, to Calabar. What is that meant to do? To carry goods from Lagos to Calabar? No. Why don't you decongest Lagos? If you decongest Lagos, you create jobs. How would you decongest Lagos? Provide security on international waters in the ports in the old eastern region. I'm talking about the Calabar port, Warri port, Port Harcourt port, One, and all that. Just provide security on the international waters. You will not need to do that road. Because at the end of the day, importers will give you statistics. Some will say 60%, some will say 70%, some will say 55%, whatever percentage. A large number of goods that land in Lagos end up in the Southeast. Most of the containers, you truck them by the road. Why would you do that when you can easily get the goods to end up in any of the southeastern ports and move them? So the cost of goods, transporting them from Lagos, if you get goods, transporting them to Lagos, the number of customs and police you meet on the road, at the end of the day, these things are still built into the cost of the goods. So why don't you just provide security there? And if you provide security there on international waters, the roads, you don't need that again. Because the pressure on the roads will be reduced. Economic activities will move down that area, and once that is done, the north is closer to the southeast than Lagos. So what you need to do is to just open up the River Niger, dredge the River Niger down to Lokoja, dredge the River Niger down to Benue, to Makurdi. Small vessels will pick goods from the eastern ports and move them to that area. Jobs will be created on those corridors. In fact, I was even shocked that the president went to the United Kingdom to take loan to invest in the ports in Lagos. I don't understand it. I do not in any way understand it. Those ports are being concessioned to private individuals who showed capacity to maintain them. And the impression is that they are making profit. So why that investment? Why don't you look towards other areas? Especially, for instance, the ports in the southeast. I mean, the ports in the old eastern region. Why don't you invest in those areas? So there are so many things that the federal government is not looking towards to make life easier. So I don't understand what the reforms they are talking about and how that reforms have impacted positively in the lives of the people. I don't know. I'm sure you could remember fuel at 100 and something naira, now 1,000 plus. If you check the difference, the salary of the civil servants have not changed. People who are salaried, nothing has changed in their lives in terms of the cost. If you're a civil servant buying fuel at 10,000 naira to fill a Corolla car, now you need 100,000 to do that, and 100,000 is about 80% of your salary. So you use fuel for 1 week, which is just fuel, which is just 80% of your salary. What kind of reform are you talking about? I don't understand. Do you have power in your house? I don't. I know how much I invested in solar and generator. I do not need that if the electricity is working. Ask anybody that is running. I have a friend and a brother who has a hotel in Noka. I got to his hotel, the place was filled up. I said, congratulations. Then I went to his office. I realized that over 60% of his supposed income goes into gas to power the place. So you need to tell Nigerians what reforms you are talking about. I don't understand it.
So, if I get you right, I mean, let's be direct, Barrister. The reforms and the achievements of this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the past 3 years, May 29 will make it exactly 3 years. You do not think they have any strong positive arguments to support their claims that they are doing very well? They've brought down inflation from 30-something to 15 point something. They've stabilized the value of the naira. You know, global rating agencies, World Bank, IMF, they're giving them kudos and all of that. What are you saying exactly?
It's really funny. If only the president and his team and IMF are the ones clapping for the government, then we'll have problems. Because for an African government to survive, IMF may not necessarily be very comfortable with the government. That is the truth. What is IMF all about? Who are the investors? Who are the benefits of what is happening in IMF? Who are they meant to benefit? You see, what are Nigerians talking about? Are you better secured now than 4 years ago? I think the answer is in the negative. Do you have more cash? We've spoken about the cash that should be in the hands of the people. School fees, where you were paying in a private school, where you were paying 10,000 naira school fees. You are a civil servant earning about 80,000 naira a month. You are paying 10,000 naira for one of your children, and you have about 3 in a private school. Now the school fees is 100,000. Your take home at the end of the month is 150,000. You have 3 kids. You have to pay their school fees. Every 3 months, you pay that. You pay about 400,000. Your salary for that 3 months will be how much? Less than 600,000. How has that improved? I find it difficult to understand what they mean, but of course they will be saying something. I don't expect them to keep quiet. What the president needs to do, that is the advantage of if you have a P2B in government. Your lifestyle. Because people talk about corruption. The first thing you will do as a government is the lifestyle of the president. Once your lifestyle reflects what you are talking about, it will trickle down immediately. How many, if you want to go to London for a meeting, you are going with 500 people, you get to London, 500 people that left Nigeria the previous day are the ones at the airport welcoming you. I mean, How? I don't understand what you're talking about. I mean, we could do better. And I'm sure in 2027, Nigerians will do better at the polls.
Let's switch gears from that. Are you comfortable with the president's approach in tackling, in the way he has managed the rule of law and democracy in the past 3 years?
It depends on what you mean by how he has tackled the rule of law. Look at what is happening in Borno and so many other states. People are being massacred on daily basis. In Plateau State, people are being massacred on daily basis. In Kwara State, people are being killed in their thousands all over the country. No state of emergency. In Port Harcourt, in Rivers State, no shot has been fired. Exchange of words. You had state of emergency. So I don't know. In fact, I don't know who even advises the president, to be honest with you. A lot of things are going on. I don't know if he's still there as president, but he still speaks to us, so I understand that he's still active. But even those of us that worked against him in 2023 are even disappointed. I mean, I believed he was not going to do better than the candidates we supported in 2023, but I never knew it could be this bad. And it started from the first day when he said subsidy is gone. I mean, on what basis? You've not seen because the issue is that the perception is that what happens inside is different from what is happening outside. You've not even entered into your office. You've not even been briefed. You've not even been told what is going on. You have not even settled down. You've not even discussed. You've not even sat on their office and you said subsidy is gone. What is subsidy? So where has that taken us to? The only thing is that they jacked fuel from less than 200 naira to 1,000 plus. And it has not stopped. Pounds and dollars moved from below 1,000 to pounds is 2,000 plus. So what has changed? I don't think we are better off now. I think we are worse off.
Let's talk about the primaries of the different political parties that has happened over the weekend. But let's focus on the ruling party, the APC. There are primaries over the weekend for House of Reps and a few others. It has caused major political upheaval nationwide with widespread disqualifications, particularly in Rivers State. And even their majority leader in Edo State was also Professor Julius Ihonvere. And the outcomes in Rivers State again, more or less has given FCT Minister Nyesom Wike the party structure fully, thereby sidelining the governor, similarly Fubara. Give us your assessment of this scenario in the APC.
I am not a member of the APC, and I'm happy that things are going on the way it's going in APC.
You're happy with that?
Yes, I'm happy. No, because you see, when you are in power, you think you are doing things, and there is need for you to know that nobody knows tomorrow. Do you understand me? This power will come today and go tomorrow. You made the reference to the House leader from Edo State. You know what that position? That was the position that was used to foist on Nigerians this Electoral Act we are having challenges with.
2026 Electoral Act.
2026 Electoral Act. The House leader was the one who anchored it in the House of Reps, moseyed it through, and now he's a victim of that. Wow. He cannot even move to another party. Will he complain? So when you tell people in office, please, that is not a permanent seat for you. Power is transient. Take things easy. Do things for posterity, not for your immediate benefit, and don't see it from the position you are occupying. Do things that you will be proud of tomorrow. Look at what the House leader has put together as the Electoral Act. The constraints and all that, the challenges it has piled on all political parties. He's a victim. In fact, he's not the first victim. Even before the political parties, he thought they were targeting. So he has been stopped at the primaries. So what will he do? Where will he go to? Going to Rivers, I don't want to comment on Rivers. Because, Fubara, you can't be playing with the devil. In my place, there's this impression, there's this saying that he who is who dines with the devil needs a long spoon. But in Fubara's case, what he did, or what he's doing, is that he threw away the spoon he had, washed his hand, and he's eating with the devil with his bare hands. I mean, what stops Fubara from joining NDC? When we were in PDP, he was doing all that. What stopped him from crying to the party? He always believes that he has a way that he can sort it out with Wike, within Wike's own backyard. He moved to Wike's level and believes he can play him out. What the hell is he doing in APC? So whatever he gets in the APC, I think they are 10 and 10 pence. They are the same. That is the truth. The day Fubara decides to stand as a man, when the governors are moving to other political parties, he should have simply moved to political party like NDC and see what will happen. If Fubara moves to NDC today, if he moves to NDC today, the game will change. Because even the masses are not that sympathetic to him, because, I mean, it seems as if what is happening to him is self-inflicted. You have two options. As a governor, and you're having problems with your predecessor, it's either you submit to your predecessor 100%, or you stand their feet. You cannot do both. You cannot do both. If I advise me, because Wike assisted him to win the governorship, I will advise him to submit to him and work with him. But if he feels that he should not, he cannot remain in the same platform with Wike, because Wike is APC and PDP in Rivers. That's not, I mean, there's no two ways about it.
Okay, let's interrogate this last bit you said now. How does it sound to you that a man claims to be the chieftain of PDP, yet is openly dictating what is going on in APC in Rivers State?
That is the APC federal government we have as her today. That is the APC federal. That is the joke. That is the joke we have. You did see what happened in the FCT council election. We step down for you in Namak, you step down for us in Bagwalada, you win in this. It's a joke. Do you understand? It's a massive joke. What is going on? PDP sacked him. I don't know whether he's still a member of the PDP, because there's been controversy over the Supreme Court ruling. So if the Supreme Court endorsed the dismissal of Samdadi as a member of the PDP, is Wike affected? If he's affected, the other people have then taken over the secretariat. That is the reason why this is enough for APC to live in 2027.
Yeah, because they've created a
this is
confusion.
Enough. The entire thing is messy, is untidy. It's unbelievable what we are doing, and everybody knows what is going on. Everybody in Rivers knows Wike is APC, he's PDP. You think the president doesn't know? His president is keeping silent because they are all working for him. Let Fubara move to NDC tomorrow. You see, or ADC, or any other political party that is not submissive to ADC, to APC.
That's the next question. Based on the provisions of the Electoral Act that you have criticized and all of that, does the governor Fubara still have the window of moving defective?
I don't know where because people are making reference to where the Electoral Act said, if this is submitted, this will not be, and all that. There is no express provision that stops him. There's no express provision that stops him. In 2023, although the Electoral Act the provisions are not exactly the same, Akpabio ran for president and won senatorial election. The former Senate president was a presidential aspirant. Ahmed Lawan was a presidential aspirant. The next day he won the senatorial election. So I don't see anything that stops him from moving to another political party.
Okay, so you are suggesting Fubara, if he's watching, should leave the APC?
I'm suggesting that Fubara has to take a decision on what he wants to do. Either to stand firm and take a decision, because even people who are supporting him are confused. People who have sympathy for him are confused. Where does he stand? Is he fighting the structure that is trying to destroy rivers, or is he with the structure? You see, in my place, some people will say, make you there, you are there, so that thunder will know where to get you. So Fubara has to make you there one place, make thunder know where to get you. So he should not be confusing us with his stand. To be honest with you, I don't know whether to have sympathy for him or not. But he has to take a decision as we speak. I don't know how he wants to fight.
Does this not give kudos or credit to the man, his benefactor, who put him in office? That he knew that he was this kind of man who is undecisive. He was not a leader, or he's not a leader. He's not decisive. He does not have the mettle, the character to stand on his feet. I mean, look at Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde. You know, so do you not give kudos to Wike that he identified this person?
On that note, yes. I give credit to Wike, because looking at all the aspirants, he decided to pick Fubara to succeed him. If Wike had picked another Wike, yes, Wike would have run away from rivers. If Wike himself is the current governor and his predecessor wants to interfere, that predecessor will not step his feet in Rivers State again. That is the truth. So he knew why he chose Fubara, and that is what is playing out. He has not taken a very firm stand. That is the truth. So he has to decide on who he wants to be. Either he goes to Wike's house to polish his shoes and help him clean his car and all that, so that Nigerians will rest. It's a joke what is going on there, to be honest with you.
Now, all of this that we have interrogated, does this not raise serious concerns about the 2027 elections? What is the opposition doing to prevent a repeat of this APC mess, this mess they've created all over the place? We only just talked about Rivers and Edo State. It's all over the place. Oyo State, for instance, I got one of the big shots of the APC in Oyo State. Sent a very lengthy protest letter. They are going to court because of the way somebody sat in his bedroom and gave out the list of candidates that won primaries when there was no primary, conduct. So, what are you doing in opposition to prevent this mess becoming prevalent in 2027?
What we have done. What is happening in the opposition is that, pardon me if I use the word, the robbers, unquote, who have come to do their job, they came back believing that they are successful. To share the loot, they have set their guns against themselves. So Nigerians should be happy with what is happening in the APC. Because that will be the beginning. That will be the beginning of the fall of APC. Because those of them, for instance, you cannot tell me that the leader of the house from Edo State will be happy that he was disgraced and messed up in Edo State with the same Electoral Act he foisted on Nigerians. So I think this is meant to reset their brain. It's meant to reset their brain. So they are now going to realize that what they did, they thought they were focusing on those of us in the opposition, that they are now that the people they did that with. In my place, they said the person I went to hunt with is also saying that my leg looks like an antelope. The person you've gone to the bush to hunt antelope, it is now telling that it seems that their leg looks like antelope. So those people they've worked with to fight the opposition are now using the same instrument they foisted on us to fight them. So that will help to build the momentum the opposition requires. I will not be surprised that the leader of the House of Reps will defect to NDC in the coming days. If he defects to NDC, he will join us to rescue Nigeria. So I'm expecting that in the coming days, those victims, they don't have to be in power to succeed. Once they see that momentum, that opposition, that we have gained the momentum we need to unseat the incumbent, that is all we need to win the presidency in 2027.
Why you keep referring to them, the campaign to the NDC? Why not the PDP or the ADC or PRP or AAC or ADC?
With due respect to all these political parties, if you look at what is happening, the truth is that the only political party that you can say have some level of sanity is NDC. Look at what is happening in ADC. Who is the president of, who is the chairman, who is the national chairman of NDC? That is what people are saying. The bala of a guy is challenging that. And you also forgot that the entire 36 members of the state chairman of ADC are in court challenging that, and they are succeeding. So you cannot predict with certainty what will happen. Bala's case was merely remitted back to the High Court. You don't know what the outcome will be.
But on INEX portal, is David Marks named as chairman, Adegbeshola as national secretary?
What was the decision of the Supreme Court?
Yeah, the matter is in
the reason why, why were their name removed in the first place?
Because of misinterpretation of the status quo antebellum by
the supposed misinterpretation was supposed to protect the regs, right? Yeah. The court has not taken a decision on that. So what Supreme Court is saying, no, that decision has not been taken. Go and take a final decision. So can you predict with certainty what the final decision will be?
Okay, this point you raised is actually very germane. Now, and that leads me to this question. Are you not surprised, or are you willing to say confidently that these so-called challenges or seeming problems, bedeviling PDP, ADC, the rest of them, are they not externally motivated? And are you sure that this NDC you are now promoting strongly is immune from all of this?
This is it's a brand new party, so there is no room for that. And the way the party is being managed as we speak today, there is no room for anybody to do that. And look at it, the people that have moved into NDC, and they have said, we are not competing or contesting for structures with people they met on ground. So you could see there is peace. It's only when you now decide to throw people away and pretend as if they were not there when you came in, then somebody will have motivation to play with the external factors, because the external factor or the external influence need an insider to be able to operate. There is no such room in NDC.
Now, you were once a very strong supporter of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. In fact, you said rescuing this country, depends largely on him becoming president. Do you still hold that view?
You see, I'm a very straightforward person. There is nothing I said about Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in the past that I can tell you today that is not true. There is nothing.
So you still hold the view?
I still hold the view that Atiku Abubakar would have been a good president. But what I'm saying now, you see, as the national coordinator of the Southeast Patriots, where I was preaching that there is a need for collaboration between the Southeast and the North. And because Atiku Abubakar seemed to be the face of the North, people assumed that he was the natural person to be the figure that will interact with the Southeast. The ADC, when we were in the ADC, the entire members of the ADC came together in Enugu and took a decision, which was unanimous, no dissenting view, that Mr. P2B is the face of the ADC from the Southeast, that he is the leader. Now, Mr. P2B has moved out from the ADC. If he has moved out from the ADC, that unity, that partnership we were preaching in ADC, that the Southeast should partner with the North, has moved. So there is no longer the Southeast to be partnered in ADC. And how did he move? He moved with Kwankwaso, who is also arguably the person with one of the most organic support base in the North. So moving with Kwankwaso to NDC makes it difficult for you to say there is still a platform to be president in NDC. And unfortunately, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is in ADC. It has nothing to do with his person as a person. It has nothing to do with his competence. It has nothing to do with his experience. But he has no platform to be president. You need a platform to be president. And the Southeast, hold on, and the Southeast has now partnered with the North in NDC. And we in the Southeast Patriots have insisted that is the only viable option. So he is not within that circle now. So unfortunately, it will be difficult for him to be president without a viable platform.
Let me ask you this question for the sake of our teeming viewers globally. Explain to Nigerians what makes the NDC a more viable platform than the ADC.
Anyway, let me start with a joke. In my place, they will say, he said ADC is one of the most viable, the oldest political party. When you talk about that, I mean, the only time Methuselah was mentioned in the Bible is about his age, not about any achievement. So if they are the oldest, I mean, what is the evidence in terms of the structure they have before the coalition moved in? So as far as I'm concerned, ADC bettered when the coalition moved into ADC towards the end of last year. That said, my belief is that for you to win the presidency, coming from the Southeast, speaking from the Southeast point of view, there is a need for the Southeast to partner with the North. In ADC, the Southeast members of the ADC met in Enugu and unanimously, I've said this earlier, and unanimously adopted Mr. Peter Obi as the leader and face of the Southeast in ADC, meaning that that partnership will be led by Mr. Peter Obi. Now Mr. Peter Obi has left the Southeast. The implication is that he has now left the ADC. The implication is that the Southeast leader with his followers have left the ADC. So there is no Southeast. This is not meant to be a disrespect to my friends who are still in ADC. But I'm talking about what the reality. So when Mr. Peter Obi moved, the Southeast moved away from ADC to NDC. So there is no person across the Niger for that partnership. And he did not move alone. He also moved with Kwankwaso, who arguably has one of the biggest organic support base from the North. So if that has happened, it means that somehow ADC has been denied of the structure in terms of human and capital that they would have used to win the presidency. And all eyes are now in NDC. And when you say NDC is a new political party, forget about the government. Who are the people behind the government? Mr. Obi is a former governor. He was former governor of Anambra State. He ran the presidency. He was the presidential candidate of Labour. You can't say he's new, even if NDC is new. Kwankwaso, former governor, former minister, former senator. You cannot say he is new, even if NDC is new. So you cannot judge by the date of the registration of the political party, because if you are going by the dates, then we should be looking at PDP, that is almost the oldest political party now. But nobody is talking about PDP. So it has nothing to do with the age of the political parties.
Okay, let's dive deep into this because it's very important for our viewers. You said Mr. Peter Obi is the leader of the Southeast. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Let me explain what I said. I said that the entire members of the ADC from the Southeast met in Enugu. Because if you are saying it this way, it will look as if I am the one. It's not Wamis. It's not coming from Wamis. It's coming from the entire members of ADC in the Southeast met in Enugu. Unanimously, without any dissent, unanimously adopted Mr. Peter Obi as the leader and face of the ADC from the Southeast.
I like that clarification because the impression I got was that you were saying Mr. Peter Obi is the leader of the entire Southeast, because I would have countered by asking you that no governor, incumbent governor, followed him in his movement. You know, they are not even supporting him. Rather, they are with the incumbent president, Bola.
And that is the best thing. That is the best thing that happened to him, because he's not going with any baggage.
Just hold on. So it does not have governors I don't know how many senators from the Southeast are with him. I know Victor Ume is with him. I don't know the chief whip, minority leader, former minority leader, Abaribe from Abia State, was with him before in ADC, but now Aide has moved to another party, I think APGA, while Peter Obi, but that's one. So Peter Obi does not entirely represent as the leader, even though Ohaeneze Ndigbo are not with him. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
let me correct you.
No, hold on.
Okay. You said you are wrong.
You answer both together. Now, coming to Kwankwaso, in last presidential elections, Kwankwaso got 1.8, 1.9 in that presidential election, and because he had Kano State in lockdown, the governor was from him and all of that. As we speak, he does not have the governor. So, and what is the influence of Kwankwaso in the northwest, or don't talk of northeast? So take the two together.
Okay, first of all, I must correct you. Ohaeneze Ndigbo is not a political party.
Yes.
It's not a political party.
It's a socio-cultural,
it's a socio-cultural,
very powerful.
It's a socio-cultural cultural group, yes. And they should be allowed to make a decision at the appropriate time. I'm sure when the political parties are done with their primaries, they will not take a decision or where they think the interests of Igbos will be protected. So saying that Ohaeneze are not supported, I mean, it's wrong for that. That said, first of all, ask you a question. If you are playing this card of governors, ministers, senators, how many governors did the P2B move with to Labour Party in 2023? How many? By the time he finished with Labour Party, how many senators, members of House of Reps, and governors did he produce? You see, what we are talking about, we're talking about people. We're talking about the people. He represents a lot more than that. If he has succeeded, if you understand the politics of the Southeast, you will know that it's extremely difficult. It's the zone that is most difficult for one person to rally around all other leaders and be adopted as a leader. And in the entire 6 political zones, it's only the same Southeast that is difficult to have a leader like that got someone. They rallied around him without any dissent and adopted him as the leader and the face of the Southeast in ADC. That face is what I said has moved to NDC. The presumption is that they have moved. You see, what we are talking about is the people. And you are wrong when you make reference to governors, senators, and House of Reps. The idea of NDC is to defeat a sitting president. The whole idea of NDC is to defeat a sitting president. So if it's to defeat a sitting president, why would you lay a lot of emphasis on senators and members of House of Reps who have probably not performed? Let me give you an example. The House of Representative member representing my zone was the President General of his community, Ozobolo. Before he ran for election in 2023, he lost in all the wars from his zone. He lost in his local government. He lost in his polling booth, in his ward. So if you are not playing him up, but let's identify you, but I don't know what he did in the Navy, another local government, and then the court. The man is in the House of Reps now. The situation for him has not changed. I'm sure he has never been to by town. He doesn't know how General Hospital, he doesn't know anything that has happened. I'm not sure he has any constituency office anywhere. So if he's being perceived to have underperformed, how would you now give credit to him joining to any political party? Because he will be part of the people that are going to be removed in 2027. So 2027 is not about governors, no. It's about the people taking back the leadership of this country to themselves and dictate and determine who takes what, not the governors.
And then you said Kwankwaso, you've not answered that part. Kwankwaso, you said, is a strong political, the Southeast has partnered with North.
No, you said something about Kwankwaso.
Yes.
You acknowledged that Kwankwaso produced a governor in Kano.
Yes.
Before he ran for that election, was there any member, House of Reps, or senator, or governor in his political party? The Kano, he ran without any governor. He ran with the people.
But is the governor still with him?
No, you are not. You are saying that because he had a governor, therefore he should win. Now he doesn't have a governor. And then I'm asking you, before the man was made a governor, was he a sitting governor? He was not. The person there is Kwankwaso. The person there is Kwankwaso, and Kwankwaso is constant. The people who are following him, they are constant. So the same way, if let me tell you, I can bet you that if the report the APC gets is that with the movement of all these governors to APC, that 2027 is a done deal, I can bet you there will be no problem in any of the political parties. But what is going on now is that there is the impression that despite you having the governors, please, if you go to the polls, you will lose.
Where else does Kwankwaso's political influence extend to in the northwest, northeast, beyond Kano? Where else?
Well, if you are running for election in Nigeria and you have Kano in your pocket, it helps to build the momentum. When we were talking about when Obi, when he joined Labour, there was no people do not have that belief that he was going to win election. People read you, look at the possibility of your winning. Now that Kwankwaso has now partnered with Obi, Obi from the southeast has the best, arguably the best organic movement. So if the Obedients and the Kwankwaso are now joined together, people will now believe that there is the possibility of the rescue coming from this political party. And mind you, all the opposition political parties met in Ibadan. They met in Ibadan and they decided that they are going to field one candidate. Who told you that the candidate will not be Peter Obi and the Kwankwaso?
Let's move away from that. We just need to interrogate. What we do is just to interrogate, issues for clarity. Because I remember that Kwankwaso stood for himself on the ballot on NMPP in 2023, and he got only 1.8, 1.9 when he was on the ticket, the made man on the ticket. But let's leave that. Now, you are running to be House of Reps member in 2027. Correct me. Okay. Now, this 10th assembly, this 10th National Assembly has been variously described by almost everybody who is knowledgeable as worse than rubber stamp. The 9th Assembly led by Ahmed Lawan, the tag, the alias was rubber stamp. But this 10th one is worse than a rubber stamp. Because whatever the president brings, it passes. Electoral Act that we've vilified here, it was passed. Nobody read a copy of that Electoral Act before it was passed. In 24 hours, it was passed. Loans, every day, loans, 1 billion, 2 billion, 500 million, passed. How did we get to this point?
You see, that is what Nigerians are going to interrogate now. Earlier I was telling you that NDC is not just to remove a sitting president. That NDC is going to ensure that anybody who has not performed will not be returned to power, will not be rewarded with ticket, will not be rewarded with re-election. So that is what is going to happen. It's not the responsibility. I'm not going to stand in for them. There are members of the National Assembly, despite what is happening in the National Assembly, have also provided voice for the people. If you watch, there was Senator Tony Woye, when he attended budget defense of the Southeast Development, it's not what he told them. These are the things people are looking at. They are not necessarily what executive could have done. That when it's not going well, did you provide the voice? If infrastructure is not in the southeast, have you spoken out? If you did not support the loans that were taken by the federal government because you were muzzled through in the House of Reps, did you speak out? Some, the importers in the Navy, during my consultation, I was at the generator pass in the Navy. The importers in the Navy said after the death of Ifeanyi that the sun had descended heavily, the allegation, heavily on them.
Standards Organization of Nigeria.
Yes, that they have been unfair to them. That is the allegation. And they sounded helpless. Because to them, they do not have the voice that will speak for them. The member representing the other federal constituency They do not even know his name. He does not have a functional office within the federal constituency. So he can even provide, let me tell you, I'm a teacher. I teach in Christ Church University. I teach family law. Where I live, close to the university, I had issue with the water provider to my house. I changed the water provider. I changed to another water provider. The other ones, that gave me a bill I didn't understand. You know what I did? I looked for the MP. And I wrote to the MP. Within 24 hours, I got a response. They took it up and wrote to the water. They wrote me back, giving me account, and I apologized. But here, in the North South Episcopal Federal Constituency, the representative is not known. He absconded with the seat. He ran away with the seat. Now that we are coming back to 2027, he is coming back again to be voted for. Meanwhile, his community told us that he was not a competent person to represent us, but that was why they voted against him in 2023. So are you now telling me that in 2027, because he has come to NDC, that he will be re-elected? That is not possible. So it's not all about the incompetence of the APC. Everybody who has been elected to represent the people, we have to give account of what he or she has done in the last 3 years.
Brilliant. I love this point, this last point you made, because you know why? Mr. Peter Obi, kudos to him. 2023, it was a one-man riot squad, mobilized the people in their millions. And he got 6.1 million votes personally as presidential candidate of Labour Party. Beyond that, quite a number of senators and House of Rep members, rode on his bandwagon to get into office. But here's where it gets really disappointing. Once they got sworn in and became, members of the National Assembly, they went quiet. All the ills that bedeviled this administration of President Tinubu, we have not had maybe 2 or 3 speak out to say, oh, we are against this Electoral Act, we're against this loan. I think once or twice we saw them, but they collected constituency allowance, they collected cars, all these SUVs and all of that. Is that what's going to happen when you get to the National Assembly?
So what you have just said is why I am of the view that Wamis should be interrogated.
No, don't give us your alias. People don't understand
that. Okay, Obunike Ohaegbu. No, my people, those in Abuja may not know me as Wamis. People in my federal constituency, they know me as Wamis. Okay, so I should be interrogated. I said I did youth service in the National Assembly. I said I came back to work for 4 years in the National Assembly as a senior legislative aide. I said I was a federal commissioner in charge of Public Complaints Commission representing FCT from Kaura Market to Wuse Market down to Day Market. Do you know that when I was federal commissioner, I was the one that championed the medical school in the University of Abuja to be accredited? When the students were rioting, the students were demonstrating, I drove my Hilux myself. My driver was scared. I drove to the students, parked in front of them in the university where they were coming out. I came out of the Hilux. I stood on the Hilux. People say I took risks that they should have stood. I said, these are the same people I've been discussing with. These are the people, you see, the people know whom you are. These are the things you can Google. So when people start saying, Obunike Ohaegbu, okay, who did you vote for in 2023? They are for us to know what. That is where they will get it wrong. The issue is that Wami said he wants to go to House of Reps. Look at what he has done. Interrogate it. Is he competent? Is he good? Is he consistent? Look at his past record. I represented the FCT. That brought enormous job opportunities to my people in my federal constituency. Can you interrogate that? Those are records you should look at, not who. So this time around, people are looking beyond Mr. Peter Obi. Mr. Peter Obi, excellent. But we also need to know people who want to jump into the ticket on whatever sentiment to go. Anybody who wants to run on NDC ticket will want to know what he has done in the past. If he was a PG, did he PG well? If he was a senator, did he senate well? So that is what we are talking about. Not about nobody. Nobody should be deceived into the sentiment. Oh, he didn't say hello to us in 2023, therefore I will not. No. Who is that person? What is his competence? What is his dedication? Who is he? We need to interrogate every individual. We are removing the veil of every candidate who is going to run on the platform, every aspirant who is going to run on the platform of NDC. We have approved Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, but other aspirants, that is where you get people coming in, Okada coming in. Yes, there's no point. There's nothing wrong with Okada going to House of Reps. But that individual, what is his competence? We're going to interrogate them now. And I'm sure NDC is going to do that before they give out their ticket.
I want you to tell Nigerians, specifically now, not just being generalistic, specifically, when you get to the National Assembly, will you champion that constituency or bogus salaries, these hefty salaries, jumbo pays, be reduced because of what the Nigerian people are suffering? Would you speak against SUVs costing 150 million, 200 million naira, that either be abolished or just give people transport allowances? Tell Nigerians.
You see, that is what people will make you to believe. I will not, because I'm running an election, get involved in what I think is not the issue. Okay. What is the issue? What is the issue is, what do you do in the House of Reps? The enormous power you have. If you are giving those instruments to work, you are giving nice car to work, you are giving enough funds to take care of your immediate needs and those people around you. What have you done as a person? How have you represented the people? I've told you about what I'm going to champion in the House of Reps concerning making sure that international security is provided on international waters in the old East. That's what I'm looking at. I'm going to insist. If the federal government does not do that, I'm going to provide the voice for the world to hear that we are saying, while we wait for the power to come, that gas chair has the gas in the Anambra North, there should be access for people to tap from those gas to ensure that we have power in the industrial areas in Anambra State, especially in Nnewi Industrial Center, especially all the industries, that they should have access to gas so that those factories and industries should be powered to have electricity. I wouldn't start talking about salary. Anybody who tells you that is just playing to the gallery, trying to play the emotions of the electorates. What are you going to do? I will make sure the rail station, the rail contract connecting Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, which is going to open up that corridor. I'm going to insist. If the federal government refuses to do that, I will make sure I speak to it every day until the whole people will start saying that something should be done about it. These are the issues I'm going to focus on. I'm going to insist that something should be done to ensure that small vessels move from the south, the old eastern ports, down to Makurdi, down to Lokoja, to ensure that people have access, the people from the north have access to the ports, to reduce the insecurity, provide jobs in those corridors. These are the things I'm going to insist. I'm not going there to start talking about salary or vehicle. If I'm giving vehicle to work, if I don't have one, I'll be happy to have one. So I cannot come here just because I need votes and start talking on issues I think are not necessary.
Is there any scenario where before you had great hopes, like most Nigerians, when the NDC coalition formed, there was great hopes and excitement? Is there any scenario in the last couple of months where the hope seems to have evaporated, and the ability of opposition parties being able to remove Tinubu in 2027, has the hope evaporated? 1 minute.
Well, I had concerns that we seem to have been boxed into a corner in ADC, that we may not be able to realize our dream of presenting a candidate to Nigerians, because Nigerians are the ones the Nigerians who are suffering are the ones that will have opportunity to speak on the election day. I felt concerned about that, but with this movement to NDC, there is hope. So I was concerned. I was concerned about the judgments coming out from the court. I was seriously concerned about pronouncements or comments coming out from the chairman of INEC. I was concerned. But at the end of the day, I now have hope that with the NDC as a platform, Nigerians will have a platform through which they will express their views.
Do you believe there's a single candidate who can defeat Tinubu in a free and fair election in 2027? And who is that candidate?
You see, I do not think that one man can defeat Tinubu. I'm running an election. I cannot, because I'm running an election, say what I don't believe. I believe there should be partnership. And I believe, looking at what is happening in Nigeria, that the partnership, the best partnership that will remove Tinubu will be Southeast and the North. And that is what we now have in NDC. That partnership, I believe, is going to work. Because Tinubu, whether you like it or not, will make impact in the Southwest. Look at what is happening in Edo State. You see, it's part of the axis of, quote-unquote, evil of the APC. But the influence of the Southeast that will always be felt in the South for obvious reason, if they partner with the North, there will be a great difference. And that is why they are even concerned about that partnership.
Okay, brilliant. Final question. The elections, the general election is about 7-8 months away. I think it's January, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So give me one reason, why Nigerians should risk their safety, and their future on the coming elections in 2027, when previous experience in 2023, INEC raised our hopes so high just to have it dashed, at the last minute with the electronic glitch that happened during results collation. Why should Nigerians risk everything again to come out in 2027 to vote for opposition, even though the opposition also seems not able to, unify themselves and have a common front?
In my place, they said, I don't know how to translate it in Igbo. I mean, if a woman is running and whatever that is pursuing her is not that serious, you see her holding her chest, covering something. The assault that we are going to do in 2027 is about life and death. So even if whatever that should have been protected on the chest is flying, Nigerians will go and vote. Because, see, I don't know how to explain it. Asiwaju is hoping that Nigerians will love him enough to vote for him again in 2027. And we are seeing this. So after 2027, where he will not come back for our votes, you can imagine what will happen. So it's about whether they will be alive or not. And I'm sure Nigerians will elect to have hope. And their only hope is to go out and vote. You see, if the vote does not matter, there will be no INEC making noise. If the votes do not matter, there will be no money to buy the votes. If the votes will not matter, there will not be creating crisis in the political parties. The votes matter, and Nigerians have to go and exercise their votes. And I'm sure they will do that in 2027. And I'm sure you already know that the partnership between the Southeast and the North that you can see in NDC, with the South spearheading it, the national leader of the NDC, APC is gone.
Nice place to anchor. Thank you so much, Barrister Obunike
Ohaegbu. One miss.
Thank you. Nice to have you. I'm sure we'll see you again. I wish you all the best in your own elections in 2027.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it.